In this movie, I'll show you how to draw stars inside of Illustrator. And the star tool is actually an awful lot of fun. Not only does it allow you to change the size and the angle of a star as you draw it, but you can also increase or decrease the number of points and change the spikiness of those points on the fly. I've saved my progress as ellipsiswithholes.ai. And before we set about using the star tool, I want to turn the final version of the drawing into a kind of tracing template, just so that we can make sure that you and I are on the same page here. And so here's what I'd like you to do. Inside the Layers panel, go ahead and turn off the drawing layer by clicking on its eyeball. Then click where the eyeball should be in front of the Shapes layer in order to turn that layer on. Now, to serve as a tracing template, this Shapes layer needs to be translucent, almost as if it's set on a piece of paper in back of a layer of vellum, so that we can easily distinguish it from our version of the drawing. To make a layer translucent, here's what you do. Go ahead and click on it to make it active. And then we need to target the entire layer by clicking on that circle, what I was telling you Adobe calls a meatball back in a previous chapter. Go ahead and click on that meatball, and that selects the layer itself. Not necessarily the items on the layer, although they appear selected here inside the document window, but the entire layer. Then you go up to the control panel. Notice this opacity value. I want you to select that value by dragging over it, and then change the value from 100% to 25%. And that reduces the opacity of the layer to 25% in kind. So in other words, anything that was previously 100% black now appears as 25% black, and so forth. I also recommend that you lock this layer down so that you don't accidentally modify it by, dragging one of the objects. And you do that by clicking in the second column next to the eyeball. And notice when you do so, you not only create a lock there, you lock down the layer, but you also go ahead and deselect the contents of the layer. So notice now if I try to marquee around any of these objects here, they steadfastly refuse to become selected. All right, now I'm going to control spacebar click on the star a couple of times to zoom in on it. So I'm seeing this top star at the 100% view size. And I'm going to go ahead and select the star tool up here in my little shape tool panel. You can also select it from the shape tool flyout menu here if you like. Notice in my case, I end up getting what I call the Ghostbusters icon. That is that little circle with a line through it, which is telling me that I cannot work on this layer. And the problem is that my locked shapes layer is selected. And you cannot add to an existing locked layer inside of Illustrator. So what we need to do instead is turn on the drawing layer, which is our version of the drawing, and then go ahead and click on it in order to make it active. And now you can see you get a standard cursor. All right, another thing I'd like you to do is twirl open the guides layer. And let's go ahead and scroll down the list, turn off guides 3 right there, and turn on guides 4 so that you can see the center point of the star. Because here's the thing, the star tool always draws from the center outward. That's just the way it works in Illustrator. So go ahead and position your cursor at the intersection of those guides and drag outward like so. And you'll, by default, create a 5-pointed star from the center outward, as I say. Couple of things you can do here if you like 5-pointed stars. You can press the Shift key as you drag in order to align that star so that it's upright. And then if you release the Shift key, you return to sort of a sideways star, what have you. So I'll go ahead and keep the Shift key down for a moment. If you want to go ahead and align the sides of the stars so that you get a perfect 5-pointed star, as in the case of an American star, for example, a star on an American flag, then you press and hold the Alt key or the Option key on the Mac. And that way, opposite sides align to each other. For example, what I mean by that is this side right here and this side right here align to each other. Then this side goes ahead and aligns to this side. This one aligns to this one, and so forth. And again, that's a function of having the Alt key or the Option key down on the Mac. So to draw a 5-pointed American star, once again, you press both Shift and Alt on the PC, Shift and Option on the Mac. All right, I'm going to get rid of that guy because that's not the kind of star I'm looking for. And I'll go ahead and begin dragging from that center point again. And as I drag, I can press the down arrow key like so. So I still have my cursor down in order to reduce the number of points. And if you go far enough, you'll get a triangle, which of course we don't want. So I'm going to press the up arrow key in order to increase the number of sides. And I'm looking for a total of 8 points. I think I have 9 right now, so I'll press the down arrow key. And sure enough, I did have 9 points, so now I have 8. All right, I'm going to go ahead and drag straight down so that my cursor is aligned with a vertical guideline. Problem at this point, however, is that my spikes aren't spikier enough. Turns out if you press the Control key or the Command key on the Mac while you have the cursor down and you drag, then you're going to change the spikiness of those sides. So you can either make them very spiky or rather unspiky, like so, for, kind of splash if you want to, some sort of graphic like that. What I want to do here, I'm going to Control drag outward just a little bit. And then I'll release the Control key or the Command key on the Mac, and I'll move inward so that the inside corners of each one of the spikes is aligned to the inside corners of the spikes in my template star. And once that happens, as you can see on screen right here, then I'll go ahead and press the Control key or the Command key on the Mac and drag downward until I get a star that's more or less exactly aligned like so. And then I will release in order to create that 8-pointed star. All right, so far so good. Now, I need to be able to see through this star to my template. So I'm going to change the fill, which is the first swatch up here in the control panel. I'll click on that swatch and then I'll change it to none to get rid of the fill. All right, now I'm going to draw another star. I'll just begin dragging like so. And notice that Illustrator goes ahead and keeps the same spikiness level. It goes ahead and keeps 8 points as we're seeing right here. I'll drag down to about this location. And by the way, I'm trying to cut through the center of the strokes in the template. And that'll provide me with the exact alignment I'm looking for. All right, now to change the line weights associated with these stars. I'll go up to the stroke option in the control panel, and I'll click on the down pointing arrowhead and change it to 4-point. And then I'll switch to the black arrow tool, which you can get by pressing the V key. And I'll click on the outer star in order to select it, and I'll change its line weight to 10 points. And then I'll go ahead and marquee both of the stars by dragging around any portion of them will do. And then go up to the first color swatch here in the control panel and change it from transparent back to white so that we have opaque stars as you see here. All right, now click off the paths to deselect them. That gives you a sense of how you create stars in Illustrator. In the next movie, I'll show you how to align a star or other shape by adding a center point from the Attributes panel.